Did I only scrape the surface of my wife cheating? I have been with my wife for 15 years. About 6 months ago, out of boredom, I was creeping her social media. I saw a picture she posted 6 years ago and an unfamiliar guy liked it. Unfamiliar because my wife is picky about who she allows on her social media. This guy was not on there. I asked her about him and she claimed to not know him and said her profile was public then. However, a few days later I noticed where they had a conversation on one of her posts. It was an innocent football-related discussion. I had a mutual follower I know well. I was talking to them and looked at this guy's profile with their account, Call Me Psycho IDC, and 6 years ago my wife liked 3 of this guy's shirtless selfies, but none of his other posts. The guy also posted a meme that said, "If your girl is liking my pics, she's mine now." Naturally my wife played dumb. I wouldn't let it go and eventually she confessed the guy gave her a ride home from the bar and they kissed. She claimed to not know him and she asked a friend his name so she could message him and ask him not to say anything. The story is irrelevant, but I have reason to believe this is what really happened. However, where was I that night? Why did this guy give her a ride home? My wife has no answers there. What really bothers me is 6 months after this incident would have taken place I was out with my sister and wife AMD, my wife's friend. Her friend wanted to go home and I insisted on taking her because my wife was drunk. I took her home in her car because she didn't want to leave it at the bar. I called my wife to pick me up. The next day my wife called freaking. Her friend's boyfriend said he heard a convo between the friend and I where I was trying to talk her into putting it in her mouth, and telling her she will like it. The friend was wasted and doesn't remember, and my wife threatened to leave me and kicked me out for 2 weeks. Finally my sister cleared it up, and what it was is my sister and my wife's sister and another guy were sitting in my wife's sister's car and the guy was trying to get my wife's sister to take a shot of tequila. She pocket dialed her boyfriend who heard this. The thing is, my wife treated me like trash for this and over the years would taunt me with it, claiming she still thinks I tried something. And now to think all this time only a few months earlier my wife kissed some other guy. What should I do, because I'm not getting past this? So, make sure I have this right. Your wife kissed a guy whose name she didn't know. She then asked a friend for his name, so she could tell him to keep quiet. Then, rather than message then block the guy, which would be a reasonable thing to do as a married woman, she followed him on social media, and started to like his shirtless pics. The reason this still bothers you is that it doesn't add up, and her response to this almost manufactured incident in the car reinforces the strong feeling that there was a lot more going on than a kiss. You're setting up a pretty classic trickle truth situation that could lead wherever the imagination goes. You document a couple pretty obvious lies while not pointing them out as such. If you are truly willing, able to accept her story, what is her response to you pointing out the injustice of how she's treated you over fidelity questions through the years? If that's really your hang-up, she could obviously put forth effort to balance the scales. Has she apologized for her hypocrisy, and is she trying to make amends there? In your position I'd be sure I don't have nearly the whole truth, so maybe that's really more of your internal conflict. Your title kinda belies the body of your post. If you believe there has been more cheating, that's all that really matters. The story about your wife getting angry about the friend thing is telling, because a guilty person would be less trusting. She knows she's capable of doing something, so not inclined to believe you. That being said, it's theoretical. The fact that she didn't fess up immediately is also worrying. Maybe you need to figure out how to better communicate with each other. Let's just be real here. They fucked. You know this. She knows you know this, but she is content in the fact that you'll never have proof, as everything has long since been sanitized. So, knowing this, what now? So, 6 years ago your wife got a drunk ride home and some guy kissed her and she liked a Facebook photo or two. And 5.5 years ago it sounded like you tried to get a BJ from her friend but you didn't really. But now 5.5 years later you think it's unfair your wife balked at this excessively because she'd kissed a guy. Do I have this right? How's your marriage been the last 5 years? Because if these were isolated incidents and everything has been fine and happy since then, I have to ask why on earth you're literally trolling 6 years of social media looking for something to get upset about. Anytime you look for something to get upset about, guess what happens? You'll find something to get upset about. Your wife lying about him is what would be the most problematic part for me. If she had just owned up to even having known him, it wouldn't necessarily been a big deal since there are plenty of innocent explanations. After all this time and with a healthy marriage there shouldn't be any reason she had to lie. I'm cynical as fuck, so I don't believe they just kissed. If she asked a friend for his name so she could continue their interaction, there was more there. She clearly remembered this guy 5.5 years later, so he wasn't just some nobody. Of course I'd also believe that she met up with him during that 2 weeks, to get back at you for the misunderstanding, with her friend, but like I said, I'm a cynical bastard. Whenever a wife or GF confess, it's always, "We just kissed." Which is BS. Adults don't just kiss, they fucking suck. She's telling you the lesser of two evils, trickle truthing. We'll never know now, will we? I was out with my sister and wife AMD, my wife's friend. Her friend wanted to go home and I insisted on taking her because my wife was drunk. I took her home in her car because she didn't want to leave it at the bar. I called my wife to pick me up. You called your wife who was too drunk to drive to come pick you up? Demand access to her Facebook soon, see if it's not deleted. You both sound really toxic. I mean, no matter how you put it, you intensely cyber-stalked her, meticulously going through her likes looking for what exactly. None of this sounds healthy, just obsessive and controlling. Obviously she's no better considering what you uncovered and she confessed to. You don't really sound like you have the healthiest relationship. It's fresh on your mind and not hers. Confront her and see where it goes. You confronted her too soon. Adults don't just kiss, dude, how can you be so naive? She reveals small details to you little by little, typical of a chatter. Don't be surprised that if you keep insisting, at the end she will tell you that they actually fucked, but just once, Asia, and then, "Okay, maybe we met again for a cough, and then, we actually have a affair for X time." Trickle truth. Time for some serious talk. Get tested for STDs and talk to a lawyer ASAP. God damn, between you stalking your wife's years-old Facebook posts and her showing zero trust in you, I don't know which one of you is worse. Yup, she cheated. Leave her, end of story. She kissed his dick, bro, with her tonsils. She told you a story, which was the lesser of all evils. That they kissed. In reality, kissing was probably a small fraction of the whole picture, but you accepted the first version she gave you, so she just went with that. Obviously, if they're friends on Facebook, have met in real life, and she is still friends with him after all this time, there is more to the story than what she's telling you. If she kissed him once and messaged him just to ask him not to say anything, why wouldn't she go back and block him weeks later? Based on this user's past posts, including one a month or so ago about leaving his wife who he has kids with, I'm guessing this is fake. Look, your wife gets all hyped up with the misunderstanding you had because she has, as we call it in my country, a dirty ass, tiene el culo sucio, which means she is feeling guilty for something she did and will try to direct the blame to you for something that was only a confusion. I would just sit her down and ask her to tell you the truth. If you still feel like she's lying, well, I would go to a friend's house for some time. Take it from me. It was more than a kiss. Maybe not that night, but there's more going on. I dated this girl for a few years who basically had the same experience. One night it was a kiss that I found evidence for, so she was forced to admit it. Then it was a full-on second relationship which slowly unfolded itself with time. She's projecting her cheating on you. People who are cheating will often blame their spouse for cheating when they're the ones cheating. You should file for divorce emo. You no longer suit each other's personality. You need someone who doesn't make you feel as insecure and feel the urge to check their social media posts from 6 years ago and who liked it, and she clearly wants a new relationship sexually, otherwise she wouldn't have even kissed, let alone what else she probably did. Oh come on op. Adults don't just kiss. They do the deed. Clearly your wife is using the trickle truth strategy. I think you know what's going on. Now what is your answer to all of this? Personally, I'd bail after the trust is long gone and the other party does not even try to make amends. She fucked that dude, bro. Nobody only gives a kiss, especially not somebody married and somebody who posts shirtless pics. Confront her until she breaks, and she will break. Make sure you're recording all the arguments. It'll mitigate your financial responsibility for alimony in divorce, depending on where you live. Good luck, bro, and sorry she broke your heart. If your wife still has that old phone she was using then, tell her you need it to back up files and apps because you do a factory reset on your phone. Once you have it, there are programs that you can use to recover all data from a phone even if deleted. This should give you a clearer understanding of what truly happened then. Good luck and I hope you get to the truth. Bloody well stand up for yourself, man. Lay some goddamn boundaries and make some ground rules clear. Honesty, and loyalty, would be two good starting places. Emo. Ex-wife homie. She fucking other dudes. Pack your shit and flee under the cover of darkness. You either like her still or you don't. It really does come down to it being that simple. If you still like her, embrace life for all that it's worth. If you don't like her anymore, admit this truth and stop lying to yourself thinking it's going to get better. You'll just end up miserable if you don't take care of this situation now. The longer you wait, the more of your life you're wasting. Really think this through before making your decision, but once you do, act on it. Oh, this story is way too familiar to me. My husband did something similar a few years ago. A woman started liking all his posts. He had a habit of posting at 3 to 4 a.m. and she was always the first person to like his shit, sometimes hearts. I saw her name enough times I asked who she was. She was just an old high school classmate. They've been friends forever. Never heard of her before, but okay. Turns out they did have a thing. IDK how far it went. But his explanations and lies were all over the place. He even started accusing me of random shit that made no sense. I now realize he was gaslighting me hard. Be careful, op, and please listen to your gut. I wish I had. She didn't kiss the other guy. Adults don't kiss. They had sex. Adults have sex. Bit confused. Your post history shows a story about your ex-wife just a month ago. She's projecting guilt as that. If she cheated, that's all you need to know. You might wish to know now, but you're never prepared for the full depth, regardless of how far it goes or not. If you think it's something that can be fixed with couples therapy, go ahead and work on it. If not, this is enough of a good reason to end the relationship. She's blows a completely innocent situation into cheating and taunts you for years. But come to find out, she kissed a dude and has hid their relationship for 6 years. Dude, does she have kids you don't know about? What else is she hiding? Hire a private investigator. Get an STI blood panel done. Of all the conversations she could have been having when she pocket dialed her partner. Damn. This subreddit taught me the term, trickle truths, and that seems to be the case for a lot of these instances where someone finds out their partner has cheated. Not saying it's the case for yours, but short of talking to your wife and trusting your gut, I have no real solid advice to offer. I just wanted to tell you how sorry I am to know that you're dealing with this, and I hope things are resolved one way or another soon. Edit. Just saw OP's post history. Well, still sorry you're in this position, but I think you left a lot out here. Trickle truth. She cheated. Get a lawyer and leave her. In my opinion, when I start digging and hit raw sewage, I don't keep going until I hit the cesspool. God only knows. Your wife doesn't seem to be the repentant type, though. If she took a rumor about you and pummeled you into the ground regarding it, hire a pie. I would ask for pure honesty. I think it'd be wrong for her to continue the lie, let alone try to cover it up with some made-up lie that she thinks she heard right. Anyways, wish the best of luck, and I would just ask her to block this guy and leave it at that. I know it's easier said than done, but nothing can be done now. Maybe get some marriage counseling, don't throw it all away. Only one response here, brother. File for divorce on her. Now. There will never be trust again. Save yourself further trouble and get free. Women will pull anything that you let them get away with, and they will then pull more. Best of luck to you. She got this guy's name from someone else to hide him from you? How do you know that? What was the point of her doing that unless there was more to it than what she said? He seems irrelevant to her now, but there could have been something in the past you didn't know about. I've been in this situation. I still am. It's hard and you feel anxious all the time because it makes you doubt them at times. But a part of this has to stem from a deeply seated issue within yourself as well. If you have enough doubt to leave them, leave. If you aren't gonna leave her over the ambiguity of the situation, then it isn't worth mentioning. She confessed the guy gave her a ride home from the bar and they kissed. I feel so bad that most people I've seen on here are such broken human beings they would look past this. Please demand more for yourself out of life, homie.